Hello, my name is Scuria-Herman, and today I'll be speaking on the topic of the CECOT again. Now, I've been debating on whether or not I should make this video. Obviously, the CECOT has been in the news a lot lately, less recently than in the sort of news cycle of the past month or two, but while it was in the news cycle, I was debating on making a video on it, because if those of you who have been following my YouTube career know, a lot of my biggest videos have been on the CECOT. So I was wondering if it would be my responsibility to sort of document it. Also, right now, I am very much in between things, so I have very limited time to make this video, but I just thought I might as well say a few things. I'm not gonna give a full, well-rounded perspective on it. I just want to sort of comment on some of the parts of it that I've observed. And here's the thing. First, I want to talk about bias, because I am a biased perspective, because I believe everybody has bias. But I believe bias comes up in different ways. Someone's bias could be much more apparent or much more egregious in a certain circumstance than someone else's. And this becomes very apparent when we deal with something like the CECOT, because in my past videos on the CECOT, you will see that the comment sections are filled with people from El Salvador saying, this is such a great thing for our country. This helped our country. We are in a time of peace because of the CECOT locking up all these gay members. Now, if you remember, my line from my specific take from the original CECOT video,
this group behind me alone is very...
It is crazy that how few human rights prisoners actually get. Like, if you think about it, okay, yeah, they committed a crime and they should be punished for it, but how far does it go? Like, I think that, I don't know, punishing them by taking away any ability for privacy or humility.
The largest prison in the Americas, with a capacity to house about 40 prisoners, of which today a significant percentage are dangerous.
40,000. It's insane that any facility can house 40,000 people. Like, something like this, of this magnitude, is just almost unfathomable. And by definition, it's inhumane to house this many people in this close proximity. I know that they're murderers, but, well, not all of them, obviously, but I don't know. I think that the main goal of prison should be for rehabilitation. And if all you're doing is just torturing, that's not rehabilitating them. That's just inflicting suffering on others, and you're no better than the people who committed these crimes. If these people need to be punished, that's one thing. But I believe that the conditions are too inhumane, especially considering that the judicial system, the system of law, is not infallible. Meaning that someone who is innocent can be sent to this location and be dealt these inhospitable, inhuman conditions. That was my original take. And everybody in the comments was going, well, that's not the case. These are awful people that are destroying our country. Well, now that American citizens are being sent to the CECOT over false claims, the sort of tide should be turning on that. Because I hope you're seeing where I'm coming from with this. These conditions are too inhospitable, inhuman, and downright awful to be allowed to persist in general, because of how they can be misused as they are being misused, and regardless of the fact of what these people have done in the past, the people that should be in there, regardless of that, I still feel like at the end of the day, they are still human and they should be treated as such, which is also one of the takes I presented originally. You'll notice on this channel, sometimes I'll have a different take on something, but no matter what, I always agree with myself. And given the information I had, and even with the new information I have, I still stand by what I said and still agree with it 10,000%. I think humans deserve rights, and especially if these humans are completely innocent and haven't been committing any crimes, they shouldn't be treated like this. And it's awful. And because systems like the CECOT exist, these situations will occur. That's simply how it works. It's really good timing to have made that video in advance and have learned about the CECOT before all these tragic events occurred. Because now I have the perspective and the wherewithal to understand what this means. I believe that, now the thing is, in the comments, a lot of people brought up my bias about how I don't live in El Salvador, how I live in, a first world country. That's not to say I haven't had problems with, law enforcement in the past, or systems of law, judges making typos. I've dealt with a bunch of things. I haven't dealt with nearly as much as probably even the average citizen in El Salvador. Not to dock El Salvador, I'm just saying, you're not wrong in that I have a better life than someone not in my situation. But regardless of that fact, I believe that my perspective on this is valid, that humans deserve rights, as controversial as that take might be. So when looking at this with a frame of bias, you could see some people who are avid supporters of the CECOT because of what it's done for them. As a newcomer to the CECOT, I'm looking at it as what it could mean and the implications of it for what it could happen, not only if it's misused, but what it means for humans to be locked up here. And we see it abused in this manner. We see it being horribly misused. And it's really a tragedy. Now listen, I'm no stranger to having stupid takes. The pigeon reaction video, it's from this creator Aesop Rock, and it's called Pigonometry. Pigeonometry. It's not. Listen, I thought it was pigonometry because it trigonometry. I didn't put two and two together, and now it makes sense that it was left on the pigeon video. When I say I stand by my own takes, I stand by that because I had no idea what the song was before listening to it. Alright, I think I'm gonna cut it short. I was sort of rambling near the end there. My point is, I think that when looking at something like the CECOT, truly this is awful. Truly what's happening here is awful. I'm not going to get into the details because people have done that many times better than me. But I think a matter of perspective and how these situations can be extended and how they can affect other populations than the ones it was supposed to affect. I'm not talking about El Salvador versus America. I'm talking about criminals versus innocent people in terms of populations. And it's tragic, and it shouldn't happen. And I believe that an institution like the CECOT shouldn't really exist. I don't think that something with conditions such as that needs a place in society, because it could be misused like this, and because I believe that a prison or a penitentiary like that, first and foremost, should be used for redemption, which is my original take. Something like that is used for penalization, for punishment, not for redemption. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, in the worst way. So, anyway, I just want to come back to that because I feel responsible. I feel like I have to make a video on that. But I recommend doing your own research on the CECOT, and I recommend attempting to check your bias, because sometimes it's unconscious, sometimes you don't even know that you have it. But I recommend coming at the subject from an open mind. But anyway, I hope that the noises from outside have not shown up on video, but if they have, that's unfortunate. But regardless of that fact, I will be leaving now. So until next time, adieu.